Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about how a recent Star Wars comic has changed our perception of one moment in A New Hope, but also darkened and rendered more disturbing a moment from Obi-Wan Kenobi. So as I've spoken about in the past, Marvel's Star Wars comics have been pretty hit and miss. When I look back at series like Dark Droids or even the Kenobi adaptation, I realize the low points were pretty darn low. I also think Star Wars, the mainline Star Wars comics, have invested way too much time in the period between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Some exploration of this stretch, for example War of the Bounty Hunters, Crimson Reign, was pretty cool, but we're reaching a point where it feels a bit diluted and we're wondering, well, how much really could have happened in these few years? Well, in Star Wars issue number 48, I'm happy to report, we're shown a moment Star Wars fans have wanted to see for years. Princess Leia reflecting on her parents' death. No, not her biological parents, her adoptive parents, Bail and Breha Organa. After the destruction of Alderaan, fans wondered, did Leia really grieve? Did she have moments of reflection that haunted her about what took place on her homeworld and what the Empire did to it? Did she ever wonder about her parents' final moments? Various canon and legend sources do confirm she grieved for a very long time. One quote that is most poignant, a part of Leia died that day, and in the Star Wars radio drama, they do allude to the agonizing pain she felt. In Star Wars issue number 48, before Return of the Jedi, Leia had a terrifying nightmare, one that was induced by PTSD. She imagines a younger version of herself, and visually it's Vivian Lyra Blair's version, and she dreams of the Death Star emerging just above their world, the peaceful, terrestrial world of Alderaan. At the royal palace, she runs to the guards. One of them says, "Quickly, princess, your father has called for you." "But what is that thing?" she responds. And then it cuts to A New Hope, just moments before Tarkin destroys her beloved world. "No, Alderaan is peaceful. We have no weapons, you can't possibly." And then Tarkin interjects, "You would prefer another target, a military target, then name the system. I grow tired of asking this. Where is the rebel base?" And then we return to Leia's dream. She sees herself as a much younger version than the age she was when the obliteration took place. But she's imagining if she hadn't joined the rebel cause yet, and that this happened when she was still with her family. There is a tragic element of confusion, and a part of her is wishing she was there with her parents. She feels so much remorse. She would have rather have been there with her parents when this took place, than having been off-world and living the rest of her life with this guilt. "Mother, father, what's happening? What is that thing in the sky?" And then Breha answers, "We don't know yet, Leia. Our people are looking into it. It's not responding to our communications," Bail says. "We are considering our options. The important thing is that we're all together." Leia is haunted by the fact she wasn't with her parents when this happened. She wasn't with her family, and she feels responsible to that very day for being the one who initiated the attack, even though of course it wasn't her fault. But in the nightmare, there is a skewed version of events. Tarkin is watching Leia at the control panel, which of course never took place, and he says, "This was your decision, princess. You could have prevented it at any time." So Leia feels culpable. A part of her deep down blames herself. And so now, you will fire when ready. And in this traumatic dream, she pulls the lever, and she sees Alderaan being destroyed, her parents holding a younger version of her in their arms. And then she wakes up in a cold sweat before 3PO walks in. "Your Highness, I heard a sound of alarm from your cabin. Is all well? Should I summon assistance?" "I'm fine, 3PO, just a bad dream." So, in a really rare moment for recent Star Wars Marvel comics, we see a moment of introspection that really deepens Leia's pain. Some of what she was feeling throughout the original trilogy, but even by the time of the sequel trilogy decades down the line. It's made even more disturbing considering we've seen this version of Leia in the Kenobi show, and she's imagining herself as that young girl. And like I say, she blames herself for what took place. Now what happens afterwards is pretty remarkable as well, because Leia expresses to Luke how she doesn't want to be part of this fight anymore, how the most important thing is rescuing Han, who she's in love with. The guilt she's feeling about Alderaan is also reflected in what happened to Han Solo. Keep in mind at this point he's been taken to Jabba's palace. It's before the rescue in episode 6. She says, "That's what I want to do. I don't care about anything else." And then Luke reminds her, no, you're a very caring person, Leia. You care more than anyone I've ever met. And then she opens up to Luke and says, I've been dreaming about Alderaan. Horrible dreams like I'm there, on the planet as it burns. And it was my fault. You know that, right? If I'd made different decisions in the moment, said different things to Tarkin and to Vader, Alderaan might still exist. And I love this sibling moment between Luke and Leia. They don't know their brother and sister yet. Luke found out Vader is their father, his father because he doesn't know Leia is his sister, and he says, hey look, you are in an impossible position, and from what you've said, the Empire would have destroyed Alderaan no matter what you did. You are not responsible for that evil, Leia. You're just not. You know what I think it is? She responds. The Empire is building another Death Star. It's frightening. And I know the Alliance will have to find a way to destroy it. We're working on plans right now. That's why I'm having these dreams. They're telling me my time is almost up. I want to rescue Han before that Death Star mission. I won't have another chance. And it makes the rebel fight in episode 6 that much more poignant. There being an even more personal motive for Leia, considering she saw the first Death Star blow up her planet. We knew all of this going into the film, but now we know she had this reflection before it, a moment where she expresses her mourning, her grief, her deepest scars. It's moments like this that I think are important to recent canon. And Luke says, you don't know that. Even the Force can't predict the future. It's always shifting and changing. But what Luke doesn't realize in this moment is Leia, his sister, also has the Force, foresight and premonition. I don't know it, I feel it, she says. And then I feel so selfish for wanting to save Han. Instead of putting all of my energy into the rebellion, nothing matters more than defeating the Empire. Nothing. I have to be Princess, Senator, General Bail Organa of Alderaan, inspiration to the entire rebel base. I was raised to be this. I don't know how to do it, but sometimes it's all too much. And I adore this humanization of Leia. You felt the anguish, everything she'd been through, everything she'd lost. There was going to be a massive rebel victory at Endor coming up. To think of all the pain she would go through afterwards with losing Han, her son, not seeing Luke for so long, it kind of adds a dimension of tragedy to Leia's story. And Luke says, believe me, sometimes I feel the exact same way. You know I'll be there for you when we go after Han no matter what, and no matter when it happens. But for now, how can I help? So, a very nice moment in Star Wars issue number 48, I think changes the way we see Leia, deepens her character arc in the original trilogy. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you, always.